Well, good morning, everyone. It's the 23rd of May here in Les Sables d'Olonne, and it's the big fishing sailing regatta on today out of Les Sables d'Olonne. All the fishermen from all the ports around, or not all ports around. I should hang on a sec. All the ports, fishing ports around France send a representative to Les Sables d'Olonne every year, or not every year. Here they have a sailing competition, like a sailing regatta, to just sort of interact fishermen with sailors. And they choose a port every year, and it's actually in Les Sables d'Olonne today. So that's the village opening. But anyway, just back to Jeremy here, not looking good for a couple of reasons. His weather, we'll go through all that first and just see how it's going to prevail, because basically it's just turned against him in all sorts of ways. So here he is here now, distance from Les Sables d'Olonne. I'll pick this up and hopefully going to see this. The screen's been doing some funny stuff on this Be Live program at the moment, so I'm just going to check that that's actually on screen. Yes, it is. So that's all good. So distance at the moment from Les Sables d'Olonne, he's actually sailing away. It's getting longer. Is around about 717 miles from home. Okay, and you can see you've got an established maybe north of northeast wind flow, not quite a northeasterly. A northeasterly would be 45 degrees here, but it's still all from the wrong direction. And he's sailing away on starboard tack with the wind on the starboard side of the boat, because if he was sailing in the other direction, he'd be heading down towards Portugal. Wind strength, because it's got this colour in it, is between 25, 28, maybe 30 knots, gusting higher. And if we get rid of that and look at the sea state, the sea would have been building behind him. So you've got this colour here now. So that's a good 3 meters, maybe even getting higher than that, 3.5 meters, something like that. And as the wind decreases, that sea will drop down, but it's still a reasonably solid sea. Okay, and that's really all he can do. So right now he's doing 3 knots. He's been doing 2.5 knots for a while, doing 3 knots. We had a chat last night talking about it. It's very uncomfortable. He's not wanting to push the boat at all because of the issue of a jury-rigged forestay. He's got the outer forestay on the bowsprit, helping to hold the mast up, but it's still, he's got to take it easy. The boat's gone a long distance, so he's not, not trying to push it, and drive it hard into the waves and so on. You can't put any sails on the forestay, and the challenge is he's running out of water. Anyway, we'll get on to that in a minute. So what's going to happen with the weather, and why is it doing what it's currently doing? It's all because of this sort of high pressure system and the center here not moving away very fast at all. So Jeremy's on the southeastern edge of the high. The wind's going around in a clockwise direction, and it's going to stay that way unless something happens with the weather. And if we look at the whole situation with the Atlantic, it's all pretty benign. There's stuff going on up the top here, but there's nothing forming here that's likely to push it out of the way in a hurry. Okay, so and in fact, you can see here generally that's a high pressure there, and this is sort of another high pressure forming, but it's not, there's not enough interaction here to push it out of the way. So if I come back now, you'll see what's going on here. That may be too big for you to see, but effectively, okay, it's being driven by the center there. And if we progress the weather forward, there's basically nothing happening with the center there. It's just sitting there. And that's meaning that Jeremy's going to have, in fact, I'm going to move forward because it gets pretty boring because nothing changes. You can see here every day. We're still on the 24th, still northeasterly. It's going to get lighter. Those yellow patches move away a bit, and he'll be coming up, maybe coming a bit further around because the wind's going more in a northeast rather than a northeasterly. So that means he'll be able to head up just a little bit. The higher he gets, the better off he'll be, because eventually he might be able to tack down into the Biscay. But again, you can see here it's all northeast. Hope he should be up here by then. This is the 26th, 3 days from now. And keep going a bit, and it's all still coming from the wrong direction. But if he's up there by then, this is actually the 27th. Sorry, 4 days from now, he could be 4 days. He's only going to be doing 50 miles a day if he's lucky. So he might be up around here somewhere. And then coming around to tack, if he tacks, he might end up heading down towards Finisterre again. But still not not a fast trip back to Les Sables d'Olonne. And you can see it's unbelievable. It's like it's just completely established headwinds. Still blowing northeast on the 27th. And in fact, I know because I've already checked, the 28th, it's still the same. And the 29th, still the same, 31st, right through to the 31st. And as he's trying to get closer, it's actually coming around and blowing out of the bay, which is exactly where he wants to go. So, as I mentioned in the post yesterday, if you've read that with the update on Jeremy's situation, it's not really good at all in terms of weather. There's no storms or anything like that. You can see here. I mean, you're better off if he's up there. You're better off having that northeast at that stage. At least he's getting into the bay. The wind's just blowing out. So, yesterday I was thinking it could take another 2 weeks to get into Les Sables d'Olonne. So nothing spectacular happening there. And if we look at the big picture out to here, you can see it's just all very benign, very confused, and in fact now there's a low pressure forming here, which is why it's drawing out the breeze out of Biscay. So poor Jeremy, he's not going to come to Les Sables d'Olonne in a hurry. That's the first thing. And secondly, the big issue, and it's going to become a bit of not a serious issue, but he's already back to half a litre a day. Now, half a litre a day is you're slowly going to dehydrate. He's got wet food, which is kind of good. And by wet food, I mean he's got tin food and bits and pieces. He doesn't have to rely on, he's going to get a bit of moisture out of that, but he's got no other fluids on board. His emergency water, which was in a container, 20-litre container that he had. It leaked out without him realising. It was a container he bought in Hobart, and it might have been one with a tap on it or a lid, whatever, but it slowly dripped out, so he hasn't got any emergency water at all. All he's got, as of yesterday, was 7 litres. Now he's got a desalinator, which is called a Survivor 06. It's like, this is actually one. The picture's not very good. It's chopped off, but it doesn't go much bigger than that. And you can see there's a membrane in here, reverse osmosis membrane. There's a handle there that you crank up and down, up and down, up and down. And you have a saltwater inlet line with a filter. This is this one here with a black thing on it. And then you have a reject line, which is getting rid of all the salt water. The other salt water, and then this is the freshwater product line. Now, the one he's got, I said to him, was it a new one or is it a salvage one, a second-hand one? It's second-hand. And the challenge with that is that there's a lot of them on the market on eBay and things like that. And, they'll sell for $300 or $350 or whatever it is. And they're surplus military ones, a lot of them. Military throw them away after 10 years. And people buy them from disposals and then they sell them off again. These membranes are only really good in storage. When they're stored brand new, they have a special heavy-duty biocide solution to preserve the membrane. And as long as you don't use it, you can usually leave it for about, you could even leave it for about 4 or 5 years. But even then, it's a bit dicey. If you're using it in a survival application, it should be flushed out and new biocide put in. Some of these might be sitting there for 10 years or more, and there's no guarantee the membrane will work. If you actually use it and pump the water through, you must biocide it again straight away. So the other thing is that there's a series of seals and O-rings in there, and over time they flatten off and they can get hard, so they're meant to be replaced. And so Jeremy said it's a salvage one. He didn't know how old it was. It could be anywhere from 10 to 20 years old. So he's testing it today. Hopefully it'll work. Once it works, depending on the age of the unit, the original membranes of this one used to only produce 250 milliliters an hour. So it's like a glass of water for an hour of pumping. The current new version of this is producing about 750 mils an hour, much greater. And they're not really meant to be constant use. They're meant to be survival application in a life raft for up to up to 10 people. So it's yet to be seen how his desalinator is going to work. If it doesn't work, he'll be down to half a litre a day, and that'll give him 2 weeks, and he should be getting close by then, or he should go past a ship or a fishing boat and say, hey, can I have some water? And we'll have to wait and see what happens there. The reason I know about these, I was agent for these units for a long, long time, 20 years in Australia, sold thousands of them to the military and used to service them all. And it was a major part of our business. But it's an interesting point, because in future we will not allow salvaged or second-hand Spectra Survivor water makers unless they've got a service record. Because this is a bit of an interesting situation now. Anyway, that's all cool, and we're wishing him well and hope he keeps it together. It's just going to take some time. You might have seen Guy Waits coming up towards Les Sables d'Olonne. He's got a long way to go yet, but he's racing up here to get here before the prize giving on the 24th. He's not an entrant. He's not even Chichester class, but he's a great mate, and having a great sail, doing a couple of stop solo circumnavigation around the world. So he's slowly getting here. Anyway, plenty happening. You've probably seen Abolish's song. Lots going on. Kirsten's gone up to see Tapio. Tapio's launching his Ocean Globe Race boat today or tomorrow. I forget. I think it's today. So she's headed up to see Tapio. That'll be the first time they've caught up since he and her were together on the boat when his Galliana sunk. So anyway, that's about it. We'll see you again in a couple of days, and following Jeremy and thinking of him quite a bit. See you later.